Some paintings hold a secret so well hidden that even the faithful who prayed beneath it for centuries never noticed. This fresco looks, at first glance, like pure devotion. St. Francis lies dead on his bier, his brothers weeping around him, one pressing his lips to the wounds of the stigmata. Above them, angels lift his soul toward heaven on a drifting cloud. It is the kind of scene meant to comfort, meant to remind the faithful that death is not an ending, but a passage into light. But look closer at that cloud, right beside the rising soul, and something else is watching. A hooked nose, a sly, twisted grin, two dark horns curling from a shadowed brow. For nearly 700 years, pilgrims knelt beneath this image and never saw it. Painted by Giotto himself, this was never simple holiness. It was a warning, hidden in plain sight. To understand what is truly hidden here, first look at what everyone was meant to see. St. Francis lies still on his deathbed, his body wrapped in the plain brown habit of his order. Around him, his brothers gather in raw grief. Some bent low with their faces buried in their hands, others staring in stunned silence at the man who had led them. One monk kneels and presses his mouth to Francis's feet, drawn to the wounds of the stigmata, the marks that proved this man had suffered like Christ himself. Above this scene of mourning, the sky opens. Angels descend on a bank of soft cloud, reaching to carry the saint's soul upward toward paradise. It is meant to be the most comforting image imaginable, a holy man's peaceful passage into the arms of God. This is what pilgrims came to see. This is what they were meant to believe they were looking at. To understand why this painting exists at all, we have to look at where it was made. This fresco hangs inside the Basilica of St. Francis in Assisi, a town in Umbria built around the very man it honors. It is one of 28 scenes stretched across the upper church, a complete visual biography of Francis's life from birth to death. The artist behind them was Giotto di Bondone, a painter who broke away from the flat, stiff figures of his time and gave his subjects weight, emotion, and humanity. The source for this particular scene came from St. Bonaventure, who had written the church's official account of Francis's life decades earlier. Bonaventure described the moment of death itself, claiming a friar witnessed the saint's soul rise into the heavens as a brilliant star. But to understand what Giotto buried inside that sky, you first have to understand what medieval believers thought happened the instant a soul left the body. In the medieval mind, death was never a quiet, guaranteed passage into paradise. It was a battlefield. The instant a soul left the body, two forces rushed to claim it. Angels arrived to lift the righteous toward heaven, but demons rose as well, clawing upward to seize any soul they could drag back down into damnation. This was not a fringe superstition. It was widely accepted doctrine, taught from pulpits and painted onto church walls across Europe. And crucially, people believed demons did not merely wait below in some distant hell. They dwelled in the sky itself, hidden among the clouds, lurking in the space a soul had to cross before reaching safety. Heaven, in this worldview, was not simply granted. It had to be fought for, contested at the very last moment before arrival. So look again at the peaceful ascension in this fresco. Angels lifting a saint's soul gently through the clouds. Once you understand what medieval believers feared lived in that sky, the scene stops looking peaceful at all. Now look at the cloud just beneath the rising star, the one meant to represent Francis's ascending soul. At first, it looks like any other cloud in Giotto's sky, a soft, curling swirl of white and grey. But follow the lines carefully, and a face begins to emerge. A hooked nose juts outward. The eyes sink into shadow. The mouth curls into something between a smirk and a sneer. And above the brow, unmistakable once you see them, two dark horns rise from the cloud itself. This is not an accident of shape or a trick of light. It is a fully rendered demonic profile, painted with deliberate precision, positioned close enough to the angels that it seems to be watching them, waiting, hoping to catch a soul it was never meant to touch. And here is what makes it almost impossible to believe. From the floor of the Basilica, craning your neck upward at that ceiling, the face is invisible. It only reveals itself in close photography, magnified far beyond what any pilgrim standing below could ever have seen. For nearly 700 years, it stared down at everyone, and no one stared back. The demon remained hidden until 2011, when Italian medievalist Chiara Frugoni finally noticed it. Frugoni was not a casual visitor. She had spent decades studying St. Francis and the frescoes devoted to his life, poring over every panel with the eye of someone searching for exact dates and hidden details. She was not even looking for a devil. She was working to pin down precisely when this scene had been painted, when the shape in the cloud caught her attention and refused to let go. Her explanation for why it took 7 centuries to notice was simple and unsettling. People see only what they expect to see. Pilgrims looked up, expecting angels, saints, and holy light. So that is exactly what their eyes found. Once Frugoni pointed to the demon, no one who looked afterward could ever unsee it again. So why would Giotto hide a devil in a scene of holy ascension? There is no single answer, only competing possibilities, each one unsettling in its own way. The theological reading fits perfectly with what medieval believers feared: a demon lurking in the clouds, watching for any chance to obstruct a soul's passage into heaven, even the soul of a saint. But Sergio Fusetti, the Basilica's chief restorer, offers a far more human explanation. He suggests Giotto may have painted the face simply for the pleasure of hiding it, a private joke tucked into sacred stone where almost no one would ever find it. Some even believe the demon's face was modelled after a real person, someone Giotto disliked enough to immortalize as evil for eternity. And there is one more staggering possibility. If Giotto truly hid a figure inside clouds on purpose, he did it nearly 2 centuries before Andrea Mantegna, long credited as the first artist to ever use the technique. So step back and look at this fresco the way it was truly built. Not a simple farewell to a beloved saint, but a hidden battlefield disguised as peace. Somewhere between devotion, theology, and mischief, Giotto tucked a devil into the sky and let it watch, undetected, for 700 years. Whether it was a warning about the fragile passage into heaven, a private joke aimed at an enemy, or simply the pleasure of hiding something no one would ever find, one truth remains unshaken. This masterpiece never asked to be merely seen. It asked to be searched. And for centuries, everyone who looked up at it failed the only test it was quietly asking them to pass.